This is ChangeMakers with Katie Gore, finding the right solutions for the affordable housing community.
Today's ChangeMaker is also a survivor. He just told me that he's recovering from COVID for a second time, so we're really glad that he is here. And his name is David A. Northern, the president and CEO at the Housing Authority of Birmingham. For over 25 years, David has built a fantastic career in federal housing, urban planning, and policy development. Today, David leads the largest housing authority in Alabama. David, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I totally appreciate that and having this opportunity to share what we do here in affordable housing, especially here in Birmingham.
Before we get into the specifics of Birmingham, I want our listeners to get a glimpse of exactly who you are. So why don't you tell us about your progression and how you've built the work that you've been doing for the last 26 years?
Well, one thing's for certain that in terms of affordable housing industry, I've made a choice to be a leader in a community that we serve. And I've been intentional about everything I've done related to industry leadership. Right now, I'm set to become the national president of the Public Housing Authority Directors Association, and it's coming May without a major hiccup or somebody running against me. I've been a senior vice president for the last 2 years, and usually it's a national progression. And so I'm excited about that opportunity to be a leader. I worked at about 5 housing authorities, did some specialization work with HUD at a couple of troubled areas, and worked as a housing advisor for Karen Freeman Wilson, who was the first African-American female mayor in Gary, Indiana, some years back. So it's exciting career. As far as the educational points, I have an undergrad in accounting and a master's in public administration from Indiana University. I did the NeighborWorks Harvard Kennedy School of Government program. It's a 2-year executive program in community development, which was an amazing program with some amazing faculty, along with a great cohort of individuals throughout the nation that I was able to work with. And currently I'm enrolled in Auburn University's master's in real estate development. So I'm a lifelong learner and making sure that I prepare myself for challenges that we look up at as opportunities in our housing industry.
You mentioned you're serving as the senior vice president of FADA and you're next in line as president of FADA, and which, for our listeners who may not understand what FADA is, it stands for the Public Housing Authorities Directors Association. And just go into some detail about what you see your vision, when you become president of FADA. What do you see your vision looking like, or even what the agenda is now and what it's going to be when you step into that leadership role?
Yeah, FADA is one of the major industry group leaders related to housing. FADA, I consider as the leader, especially in, policy and policy development, working with our legislators throughout our nation. We oversee close to, in our membership ranks, it's close to 2,000 housing authorities throughout the nation. So it's exciting to be able to be a leader as part of that group of intelligent and, focused individuals. Right now we're really focusing on the COVID vaccine, the rent moratoriums, infrastructure, things that really need to happen to make sure that our clients that we serve throughout this nation are in a better place and have a better makeup. So working with our legislators in DC and locally and getting the message out to our various industry group members so that they can, work locally for the goals of our clients and the organizations that they serve.
What FADA does so well, and some people may not realize why you need a national industry when you have HUD in place, but what FADA does so well is they step into that best practices mold. And so you get housing authorities of all different sizes, somebody who's run a program, they've learned from it, and they have all these models by which they can bring it to the rest of the group. And it's such a great way for housing authorities of all sizes to be able to capture that success metrics and whatever program they're running. So it's really crucial to what's happening in the affordable housing space. And, along that line, not just what is FADA and why is it important, but how did you pick FADA to be that advancement for you and your leadership and really your housing authority?
To be honest, we all 3 of the industry groups do a great job of providing the services to the various organizations the 4,000 plus organizations throughout the nation that deals with housing and informing the board members, the housing professionals throughout our nation, along with our resident leaders. But I was on the board of governors for NARO, the National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials. I don't know if you ever heard of it. NARO has emerging leaders, and they
Mm-hmm.
had an internship program. Well, I was the person that chaired the committee, the exploratory committee, in a sense, that started those two activities years ago under Renee Roker, who was the president of NARO. So I've had my opportunity to work in both segments of our two or the three of our major industry groups. And FADA just really felt inviting and warming for me. FADA was really intentional in their policy focus. It's a little smaller than NARO. However, our policy staff at FADA and, Tim Kaiser is an amazing director that leads FADA. And, it just felt like home for me.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of your progression, you mentioned that, you got your MPA, your Master's in Public Administration from Indiana University, and shout out to that team. I also actually hold the same degree from Indiana University.
Oh,
So
wow.
I know we're comrades in arms here. And just as well, you're a fellow Hoosier like I am. So shout out to all of our Hoosiers out there. And I want to just kind of talk about, because you're also pursuing another master's,
Yes.
and how do you then kind of challenge, or I hate to say mentor because sometimes that's overused, but how do you challenge the people around you to move through the system, and speak to that a little bit, because I know you've been real open about that and some of the articles you've written about leadership.
Well, leadership is totally important, and I, use a hashtag at times. The leadership matters. Focusing on this new master's from Auburn University in real estate development, and coming into Birmingham, we have a current inventory of affordable housing here that's outdated and really need to be repositioned on a holistic approach. And so I'm hoping that some of the knowledge I may gain and some of the skill sets and networking that I may gain will lead to not just me, but some of our team members, our local officials, and our resident leaders to help understand that approach that we have to take. But one thing is for certain is that you have to really ensure that, when you're leading an organization like this, that the whole organization kind of take your mindset. And I'm thankful that my mindset is focused on our clients overcoming obstacles, understanding that we have to have a business mindset, and we can no longer focus and look at ourselves as traditional housing authorities, but affordable housing developers and affordable housing property managers, and with that business mindset I spoke about.
When you go and you talk to residents or even the youth in your community and you talk to them about overcoming obstacles, is there something specific that you tell them that is something that you've learned or something that you've done that gives them a point of reference?
Well, I'm going to tell you in life, we talked about it a little earlier. I'm a two-time survivor of COVID. This last time is really was challenging, and I'm still working to get my full strength and energy. And I encourage individuals out there to believe in the science and believe in the safety information and messages that's coming out. And when I'm able to take the vaccine, I'll be the first in line to take that vaccine. But as far as other obstacles, being born and raised in Gary, Indiana was a little challenging. And I was born to a young mom who was 17. She had me when she was in high school, but she went on to also get an undergrad in accounting. My dad wasn't really, my biological dad really wasn't around a lot. He was, in and out of jail. But, that made me a little stronger and made me want to focus on ensuring that, I don't do things that may destroy or take from our community, that I help grow the community. And as you well know, being from Indiana, Gary was the murder capital for a number of years. And those was the years that, I was in high school and in junior high school. And I saw a lot. I saw a lot of harmful effects of, what occurs when you have those type of situations, individuals that I know personally being murdered at school,
Mm-hmm.
seeing the bodies laying around. And so when I look at our housing authorities and our properties, and when I say I focus on individuals overcoming those obstacles, getting to the next level of self-sufficiency and creating environments where our young people can grow and be successful, I mean that. I really feel it because I was one of those individuals that had to overcome and do so much, just like standardized tests. I was taking standardized tests coming up and not really being that focused, being raised by my grandmother primarily. I didn't do well. So they said I had a learning disability. And, so I used some of those obstacles that I had to overcome, some of those, shortcomings that I had in my life as I was raised, and I had to, work hard to become who I am today, to let them know that I'm just like you. My job right now, when I play football, I wore a helmet. Right now, I wear a suit and tie, but I'm just like you as an individual. And if you're willing to work hard, if you're willing to be intentional and focused, you can make it and you can do it. And that's the message I want to continually have for our young people and the clients that we serve.
There is real power in your life story and what you just said right there because, whatever the dynamics are and whoever you're speaking to, it's one thing for them to see you where you are, but they do need to hear where you've been. And for somebody to be told you can do it, that really can change their life, and that could set them on a different pattern because they may not have anybody else feeding that into their life. And so for you to evolve in such a model of leadership and overcoming, and then to kind of actually, go back and relay that life story to others, you're sowing seeds here that are just really profound. So, and that's actually, what is part of your effective leadership style in Birmingham. So how do you speak to your staff to encourage them in maybe not the same dynamics, growing up and places like that, but how do you now talk to your staff and you bring that to the table with them?
Well, I bring that to the approach that, Birmingham has some changes in leadership, and for close to a year, they had an interim director who did an amazing job. And, she's our current interim chief of staff now. And so I worked so much with her on a daily basis, but just giving them the power to make decisions within the various departments. And I tell them, I don't want to be the smartest person in a room. We all have certain skill sets. We all have strengths and weaknesses, and we have to understand both of those. And as a team, we can make it. I'm even that type of leader, really, to be honest. I don't like job descriptions. I want you to bring the best you can to the table without being pigeonholed on what you can talk about, what you can discuss, and what you can add to our team effect of approach to handling the needs of our clients here. I want them to get on my nerves, in a sense, bringing me proposals and opportunities to help, whether it's providing better security lighting or cameras, or helping with this Wi-Fi situation, the digital divide. We're doing so much, and it's so much that needs to happen. And it's not about me; it's about us. One agency, one voice, and I've always believed in that.
It's great when your staff can push the limits on innovation or push the limits on, production and ideas. And you're the one that wants to try to say, hold on, we got a lot going on. So it's actually great when your staff can be empowered, like you mentioned, to bring that stuff. So let's talk about Birmingham. I've been there several times. It's a great city and lots of potential, but it's also got some, history and some capital needs that, suit themselves for this overcoming message that we've mentioned. So let's start at the beginning. What drew you to Birmingham?
As you know, as you mentioned earlier, I've had some, really good success in the industry, and I'm at that type of level in my life and in my career that I can make a choice. And so my choice, Birmingham, was intentional. I did my research on Birmingham, and it's great when you can find an opportunity that you want to be at. It's not just about a job; it's about a place that you want to be. I looked at the rich history of Birmingham, from the civil rights to the beautiful landscape of the mountain areas here. And, it's just beautiful. But, as we talked about it, it is a lot of opportunity because the aging inventory, I'm looking at the next, 5 to 8 years, over $400 million in, repositioning development type opportunities here in various partnerships, and allowing our residents to be empowered and come along that spectrum of self-sufficiency. And so I'm a busy person, as you can see from my educational background and, the 5 other housing authorities I worked for and with in my industry leadership. And so I'm accepting that challenge because I'm looking not at it as a challenge, but as an opportunity to make change in individuals' lives here in Birmingham and be a part of that team that takes Birmingham to the next level.
That's fantastic. Well, hold on for a minute, David, because coming up in the second part of my discussion with David Northern, the President and CEO at the Housing Authority of Birmingham, David talks about the approach he's taking to change the game in Alabama.
We want to do a holistic approach to repositioning so that the funds that come here that's part of affordable housing development, the funds that come here as part of economic development and job creation, and just building healthy communities that's less dense, so that our people can have that benefit and that opportunity to be successful and safe.
Thanks for listening to ChangeMakers with Katie Gore. To find out more about Katie, go to quadel.com. That's QUADEL.com. This has been a production of Forbes Books Radio.